The year is 41,500, and the Centauri cluster is home to countless strange species. Though there is one thing they all share, they all once came from Earth. As surprising as it may be, the same is true for the Celestials. Celestials are not just one species. It's a collective name for dozens, maybe even hundreds of different species that evolved from humans. Over the millennia, and with the help of genetic engineering, they evolved into various shapes and sizes with many extraordinary abilities. It's often hard to believe they once had human origins. Early celestial history was violent and chaotic. Empires fought for power, resources, and territory. Countless worlds were destroyed, many celestial dominions wiped out. We can often only guess what these early celestials were like, for all that remains are mostly ruins. However, even though the civilizations are gone, these worlds are still targeted by the travelers, because any salvageable technology is still thousands years ahead of anything the humans have in their disposal. These days, Celestials mostly live in peace, mainly thanks to the influence of the Elohim Celestials thousands of years ago. However, it's a fragile peace. Despite millennia of evolution, Celestials are still susceptible to human emotions and behavior. Even though Celestials would like to think they are logical and pragmatic, and human-like emotions are often considered a weakness, anger, mistrust, deception, or even prejudice are still common among the Celestials. Though probably the most notable is the sense of superiority. Usually, different species see each other as backwards and barely above humans. This is sometimes true not only among different celestial species, but also inside a single species, between individual families and bloodlines. Everyone plays the great game of power, where everyone is constantly observing, plotting, and trying to grasp any opportunity to gain even a small amount of influence. However, with so many players and different parties involved, the status quo is mostly maintained. Occasionally, someone gains or loses a position in a dominion's hierarchy, but any significant shifts of power are usually preceded by hundreds or even thousands of years of planning. Despite their huge differences, there are several aspects that are common among various celestial species. Most species live longer than humans, and their lifespan can be several centuries. Of course, not only their physiology but also intellect is usually superior to humans. Their technology is something we can mostly dream of. Even ancient civilizations used androids for various purposes, and still today, combat androids called ghosts stay vigilant in long-forgotten sites to defend against any intruders. Celestial technology includes massive ship weapons that can annihilate a planet's atmosphere, tiny nanobots that can infiltrate through smallest gaps and sabotage electronic systems, neural weapons that can completely erase the victim's mind, or nasty traps that look like stones but can chew through any armor in milliseconds if you are not careful. Although specific technology is different for most dominions, various celestial species have neural paths which allow them to control technology directly with their minds, as well as to communicate with other beings with neural paths. Mostly to talk to other celestials, but also to issue commands to reawakened animals or changelings. Currently, we know the most about the Crown Celestials, who are the main celestials of the Exodus novel and the upcoming game. The Crown Dominion is ruled by 5 queens from powerful houses. Every 60 years, one of the queens takes the position of the Empress and rules over the entire dominion. There used to be 6 queens, but this may be a small spoiler from the book, so let's just say now there are 5. One of the most notable aspects of this species is their transfer of consciousness. They have the ability to gather their mind and transfer it to a new host. This is usually one of their children, who is specifically selected and prepared to be the next host of the mind line. The next host then receives a collection of memories, and most of their personality is also inherited from the received mind line. In this manner, a single consciousness can live for thousands of years. Being selected as the next host is a great honor, and it often leads to sibling rivalries over who gets to be the next host. Especially for the royal mind lines, where the requirements on the host suitability are extreme and the aspirants need to pass several demanding trials to test their combat abilities, political manners, and survival skills. Children that don't get selected become so-called new life. They grow up to build their own personality and start a new mind line. This mind line is also reflected in the names of the crowned celestials. Their name consists of two parts. First is the name of the original individual, and it stays the same for every host of the mind line. The second part of the name is the name of the current host. New lives simply have one name, for there is no previous mind line they would inherit. The crowned celestials see the mind line migration as one of their greatest strengths, and it's a big part of why they see other celestials as inferior. And, of course, it is also the reason why other celestials see them as inferior, for in their opinion, the mind line migration is a sign of stagnation that doesn't allow the crowned celestials to evolve further. How is life for humans in the crown dominion? Crowned celestials oversee several human worlds, and even though humans are seen as greatly inferior and mostly provide economic resources and supplies, humans are allowed to have a relatively good or at least stable life in the crown dominion, at least as long as they don't interfere with celestial interests. Human treatment is different in each dominion. Some dominions actively cooperate with humans, some completely ignore them, but there are also those who treat them worse than animals. One such example is the Mara-Yama, a nomadic dominion that makes both humans and celestials nervous. Mara-Yama fleets are spread all across Centauri, and the best thing you can do with Mara-Yama is to avoid them. They hunt for victims to subject them to psychological torture. Then they extract traumatic memories as a form of entertainment. Human arcships arriving from Earth are especially precious targets, because they have memories and emotions that are not available anywhere else in Centauri. Because of Mara-Yama's medical facilities, they can keep victims alive for decades. One of the main threats is that nobody knows for certain how many Mara-Yama fleets are hidden throughout the cluster, and what kind of retribution would come if someone attacked a Mara-Yama fleet. For those reasons, most civilizations, humans and celestial alike, try to stay clear of the Mara-Yama unless directly threatened. We have mentions of some more celestial species, but rarely anything other than a name and some short description. There is the Heresy Dominion, which is allied with one of the Crown Dominion houses, and it will definitely play a part in the second book. The Talochte, another nomadic dominion, which is also involved in the book affairs. Not a lot was revealed, but apparently each individual is a swarm of bodies that share a consciousness. Also, their ships have great camouflage abilities, and they can quickly shift from a shapeless meteor into a fast and nimble starship. Then we have the Detenir, who inhabited Lydon, Aktoru, whose ships are scattered all around the cluster, but no one ever found remains of their bodies. But based on the design of their ships, they had to be very small. And those are just some celestials we know of. There are dozens others that we haven't even heard of, so who knows what we will see once we journey to explore the stars in Exodus. Thank you for staying until the end. If you want to know more about the Exodus universe, check out my other videos on the topic, or subscribe if you don't want to miss my future Exodus related videos. Have a great day, and see you next time.